You know, when people come to me to get fewer patients, I mean, I want to be honest with you here. They come to me because they want to make meaningful differences in the lives of the people they see. And you can't do that when you're churning and burning and flipping rooms and doing all this stuff. So what we really have to do is we have to focus on the number that you take home. You want to work 5 days a week and make, let's say, $1 million? You want to work 4 days or 3 days or 2 days? So at the end of the day, profitability is a very simple formula. It's not about how much are you grossing or producing. It's about what is the healthy number at the bottom.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Dr. Len Tau. I always want to thank the sponsors who allow me to do this every single week, both Dental Intelligence and the doc sites, for their support, and remind everybody about my event this year coming up September 26th and 27th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, called Supercharge Your Dental Practice. We're going to be releasing the names of all the speakers and all the great little things that are going on in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that announcement. But you can go to superchargeyourdentalpractice.com and find out more, and you can even buy some tickets. Use the code RAVING, R-A-V-I-N-G, to save $100 on your registration. Today's episode is called Living the Life of Your Dreams by Working Smarter, Not Harder. Today's guest is Scott Manning from Dental Success Today. Recognized by thousands of dentists across North America, Scott Manning is an accomplished author and a widely sought-after speaker. For almost 2 decades, he has dedicated his career to helping dentists shape their practices to a level of fine-tuned perfection. He has established his reputation by being a bold and aggressive action taker and a master of implementation. Scott is a dynamic speaker who has inspired and motivated dentists everywhere to know that it is really possible to earn incredible income, create wealth, and do it all with lifestyle-based practice. Scott's initial knowledge and expertise began during high school when he purchased a martial arts business. 4 years later, he had 4 locations, a large team of instructors, and he was earning over $1 million a year. He then decided to enroll in college, where he earned his MBA in business, which enhanced his vision into the finer mechanics of business operations. When Scott decided to move from teaching martial arts to teaching business management skills, he discovered his passion for entrepreneurship. While earning his MBA, he began what would become the largest coaching program for businesses in the country. As the majority of his most successful clients were dentists, he made the decision to focus on the dental industry, specifically, and established Dental Success Today, which has helped countless dentists achieve their dream practices and lifestyles. Scott sincerely believes that the secret to true success and happiness is all about the relationships and inspiring and empowering others to be the best they can be while enjoying life along the way. Scott's wife, Kristen, and daughter, Sailor, are his pride and joy in what makes everything worthwhile. They love traveling together as a family and experiences all life has to offer. Scott has accomplished a lifestyle that most people only dream about. His passion is to help as many dentists as possible achieve their dream, practice, and lifestyle, and that is what he continues to do today. So please welcome the Raving Patients Podcast, Scott Manning. Scott, thank you so much for joining me today.
Dr. Tau, listen, it's an honor and a pleasure. Okay, someday I want to reciprocate and give you such a great introduction because nobody gave me one that nice ever before. But this is the place to be, friends. That event sounds incredible, and I know what you've done in your career. You're a legend. So raving patients, but let me tell you, you have raving doctors all over this country that listen to every word that you put out. So thanks for having me. It's just a real honor.
I appreciate you being part and reaching out and wanting to be part of my podcast. It's pretty popular. We get almost 1,200 downloads an episode now, so I'm proud to have the reach that I have. So Scott, I read your bio. It's very impressive. Obviously, you have some great business acumen to be starting in high school with a martial arts business, grow it to multiple locations, and earn over $1 million. You then shifted to the dental industry. I know we talked a little bit before we recorded. So can you kind of just, for ease of people listening, kind of what your specialty is, how you help dentists thrive in today's economy, how you had them live a life of their dreams? And what I always like to say is, I bought a practice in 2007 from a dentist who committed suicide, okay? I bought the practice, I gutted the building, I invested a lot of time and a lot of money into growing the practice and building the practice, but I wasn't living the life of my dreams. I had the practice of my dreams, okay? But I was working so hard, I didn't have the life of my dreams, and that's why I found ways out of dental practice to where I am today, being 51 years old and no longer clinically practicing. So can you just just getting it out there, how you help practices?
Well, I really appreciate it. And, the funny thing about bios is, you can write whatever you want, but most of all that at least is true. So I will just say to you, I'm inspired by your journey and what you've done. For me, I guess there's a backstory, and I have an alcoholic father and blah, 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 and came from nothing in the middle of Indiana into farm countries, which I'm very proud of my upbringing. But the point of the martial arts is that, at one point I was teaching people kicks and punches and self-defense, but really it was life defense. And what I learned is that, first of all, it's better to be on offense than defense. And in business, you can be on offense. And so it's still about breaking through limiting beliefs. Everything in life, okay, we are a manifestation of our thoughts. And where we focus, okay, is ultimately what we're going to attract. Everybody knows that. But yet few people operate with the discipline and then have a strategic plan to back it up. So I actually started, my big revelation in dentistry, I started in the early 2000s. But in 2007, 2008, when, so many things changed in our world, in our industry, in the financial side, and in dentistry and innovation, what I realized was that the heartbeat of America was private practice dentistry. And at this moment, what you had was a lot of shift in corporate and organized, in insurance, and the model, and quite frankly, by the industry, the model started to being shifted away from personality-based relationship care. And I saw doctors who their entire life's work was all about becoming a doctor, many generational practices, and then we have people who signed up to become a business owner because they wanted freedom, they wanted autonomy, they wanted to be able to practice with a patient with integrity between the doctor-patient relationship. And all that started to shift away. And so I shifted it back. And I wrote my first book called The Dental Practice Shift, which is about restoring the entrepreneurial spirit, okay, the heart and soul of what makes an independent dentist, okay, so successful and so powerful. And so I said, don't try to cookie cutter your way, okay, out to be like everybody else. Instead, bring it home here and say, let's be true to yourself. So, what I started doing was helping one doctor at a time realign their true purpose, their driving motivation with a business plan to match. And I call it reverse engineering. I mean, it's not like it's my term, but I call it reverse engineering of first starting with what do you want life to be outside the practice? Most every doctor is trying to figure out how to build their life from the inside out. Okay? And it's totally backwards. So if we can establish life goals, we can design a business to facilitate that. If we just focus on a business goal, life is going to be at the mercy of what that is. So what I do for people is I help doctors, first of all, find clarity and purpose for their life objectives. And then to organize a business plan through the beauty of dentistry that will facilitate that goal. And then second, and I guess the third thing would be, I want them to love it so much they never want to leave it. No offense, I'm glad you did, because look, you're affecting tens of thousands. Okay? But I want them to love it so much they never want to leave it. And that means we have to not make their some days, their vacations, their bucket lists exciting. We have to make the monotony of their everydays exciting. And that's where the seeds of greatness are sown.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense, and thank you for kind of coming out and saying that. So let's talk about some of the things we wanted to touch base on during the podcast. So the first speaking point was doubling practice profitability. So obviously, when you go into dental practice, the goal is to make money, okay? Everything you do in the practice revolves around making money. You market to make money. You hire the right people to make money. I mean, we have to have that mindset of being a profitable practice. If there's no profitability, the practice doesn't thrive, and you need the profitability to thrive. So, can you talk about some of the things related to doubling practice profitability?
I love it. Thank you so much. Well, we have the greatest industry known to man or woman because there's so many resources. And there's, but what has to happen is the doctor has to know what success is for them. You can't keep buying everybody else's solutions until you know, okay, what exactly does success look like to you? So profit's a pretty easy one. So we understand that most dental practices in America, they're, at best, they're making 30% off the top line, right? And the reality of it is, the more you grow the top line, you can make more money. But at the end of the day, the bigger the top line has to become, the harder you have to work for it. So you have to develop leverage. And in dentistry, unfortunately, the whole theme of success in the last, we'll call it 8 to 12 years, has been all volume based. It's a bigger, more hygienists, more insurance, more patients. People come to me to get fewer patients. I want to be honest with you here. They come to me because they want to make meaningful differences in the lives of the people they see. And you can't do that when you're churning and burning and flipping rooms and doing all this stuff. So what we really have to do, okay, is we have to focus on the number that you take home. Because you can run, you want to work 5 days a week and make, let's say, $1 million. You want to work 4 days or 3 days or 2 days. So at the end of the day, profitability is a very simple formula. Okay, it's not about how much are you grossing or producing. Okay? It's about what is the healthy number at the bottom. And in simple math, this is going to come from doing more dentistry, seeing fewer patients. That's the number one most simplest sentence I can utter to say it's going to increase your profitability. The second thing, though, is to not look at outside, dentistry formulas and say, what should my overhead be? What should my payroll be? What should my lab be? It all depends on the practice model. Okay, so we got doctors with, their lab fees are twice as much as the normal, at their profits 4x. And I can show you practices with 4 team members or with 14 team members, and maybe the one with 4 is netting more than the one with 14. So it's just getting clarity over the numbers, and then we're going to talk about the next point, but is understanding the math of dentistry. So I teach 4 pillars: diagnosis, case acceptance, prepay or money flow in the practice, and then schedule control. Okay, and it all comes back down to creation. If you want to be profitable, okay, you have to create more valuable patients. Not find them, create them. And of course, you teach how to attract them, which is pretty cool too.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. So, one of the things that I love that you wanted to talk about was freeing up time for your life and for practice. So can you talk about some of the, what I call small business math that frees up time to give someone, to give them the things that matter most?
Oh, I love it. Well, first, Dr. Tau, you and I are kind of the no BS kind of people here. So I would just say, number one, remember that you're not going to break the laws of human nature, which is called the work will fill the time allowed. So how about allow less time? So the first thing we start with is we say, what are the parameters of your life? Okay, you want to wake up early, you want to get home for games, okay? You want to work out every day, okay? You want to take a short day and no lunch. You want 2 half days, what do you want? Okay, so first you got to figure out what do you want, so that we shape the game board, the playing field, in terms of time, right? More time never equals more money, and more leverage equals more money. Okay, so that's the first piece, to have clarity over that. The second aspect is that when we're playing with addition, add patients, add chairs, add hours, add procedures even. We're adding all this stuff that it makes things more complicated. Now, I'm all for comprehensive dentistry, do all this stuff in one patient's mouth. But at the same time, what we have to realize is, let's play a little dental game here. You do 1 crown, okay, prep, let's say, it should be an hour, but let's say an hour and a half. You do 2, what is it? Well, it's probably an hour and a half. You do 3, what is it? Well, it's probably 2 hours at the most. You do 4, well, it's probably 2 hours again. So you have time leverage built into dentistry. There's no other industry like this. You have time leverage built in. So the doctor is either at the mercy of or the master over their time, based first and foremost on the fundamentals of treatment planning, of phasing and scheduling cases, okay, and of how they work by empowering their clinical team to give them more leverage, okay, per visit. So I always say the greatest number, you said small business math, you want to talk about time efficiency, the greatest number every doctor needs to know is what's their average visit value. You can stack that by knowing average patient value. Now a lot of people in software will tell you what's your hourly value, but they won't tell you what your average visit value. I have doctors all day long say, oh, I do comprehensive dentistry. So really, tell me your average visit value. Well, comprehensive over the course of 2 years? I mean, that's not so comprehensive. Okay, or comprehensive in the terms of half a mouth at a time. Okay, so the second small business number is, well, you have to learn to bundle, whether that's working across the mouth and we have a lot of specialists, you and I both do, so a lot of or you have to master a specific niche, a modality, and you have to go all in on that. Okay, and so we spread ourselves so thin by being desperate minded. So that's what waters down the value of time. And it goes back to something that I know you speak of often, but it's the 80-20 rule. So it's not, you have 100% focus on the top 20. Well, my theory goes threefold. Number one, focus on the top 20. Number two, rip off the bottom 20. Number three, go to the top 20 and then make it to 100%. And so if you keep upgrading the value of your time, you're going to be able to scale. And this also, to finish this off, this also begins with, you got to think bigger. Okay, so don't be satisfied with what you're doing. So I always say, the people who try to be marginally better, 2025, let's do 20% more than last year. That's like exciting for a moment. How about we say, what's our opportunity? What if we maximize the health impact on every patient we see? Well, that number's a lot bigger than 20%. Okay, so we need aspirational, ambitious goals, but then backed up with tactical, strategic ways to organize time, to increase the value, okay, and to make sure we're playing with leverage and multiplication.
You know, we always talk about the hourly production numbers that dentists do. They like to produce as much money in an hour as possible. Where do you like your clients to be in terms of that? Is there a certain number that you strive for? Is there a certain number you look for? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh wow, you go right to the heart of it. I just love it. Well, first of all, I don't mind being very strongly confident about it, and I am. But I would just say this, okay? My doctors have a higher expectation of what they're going to be doing. We don't believe in industry averages because, by definition, who wants to compare against mediocrity? Okay, so first and foremost, I look at a doctor's potential. Whether they're doing TMJ or sleep, they're doing implants and surgeries, they're doing ortho, they're doing crown and bridge or full arch stuff. So what is the opportunity that you can achieve in, let's say, a compartment of time? And in an hour, I understand your question. An hour, you can place an implant. There's not a lot of dentistry can be done in an hour, let's say, but if you take 2 patients in the morning and you have a block of time for 2 or 2.5 hours, like, you can transform someone's life. And if you only see one in the morning and one in the afternoon, it's even more so. So that's not everybody's model. And people think I come across like, oh, I'm talking about big cases. No, I'm talking about comprehensive diagnosis. That's it, just comprehensive. Okay, so what I want to see happen is people move from, most doctors like 500 an hour. Well, you can get 300 to 500 doing fillings all day, okay? I mean, it sounds like you'd rather go hit your head against the wall. So 300 to 500, no, I'm talking about 1,000 to 2,000. It's very simple. I want every one of my doctors to produce $2 million a year, and every year just say, how can we do it in less time? Because, I teach a 2 million and net $1 million. Now, I got doctors doing, 8 million or 6 million or 1 million or to me, the numbers are all arbitrary to the goal. I want to know, what do you want your life to look like? What stage of life are you in? Maybe you got young kids, maybe you got grandkids, maybe you're putting people through college. You may want to do different things. So that's why setting the outside the practice goals first, then the inside the practice goals. But understanding, yes, we are in the time, value, leverage business. And so don't think about how to maximize your hours. Think about how to deliver greater impact to your patients. And then get that dentistry done in fewer visits. And what will happen? Your hourly value will go through the roof.
Got it. Now, that makes a lot of sense. So the next topic we want to talk about, which is a big deal nowadays, is insurance dependence. I was fortunate. I had a very much insurance. I was not dependent on insurance at all. Okay. A lot of practices out there, you start that way, can't get that way, buy a practice that way. Let's talk about what is your feeling on reducing insurance dependence, because then you are 100% going to work smarter, not harder. And a lot of people don't have that mentality. And I'll give you a quick example. I always say that if you drop insurances and you lose 20% of your patients, what happens? Okay? You actually work less and you make more money because you're reducing the least paying insurance in your entire portfolio. So talk to me, talk to the listeners and the viewers about reducing insurance dependence and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I love it so much. Well, first of all, let me tell you, friends, hey, you are in the right place. Because I'll tell you, if you listen to Dr. Tau and his podcast, he has the most eclectic topics, okay, of powerful information in dentistry. So I know this is a very common theme here. Well, I think insurance dependence, there's obviously the number one is, who wants to be told what you're worth? I mean, first of all. Okay, number two, who wants to be told what you can do? You got the license, and yet you do not pass go, do not collect $200 till an insurance person puts a stamp on it. I mean, the whole concept by itself, we're playing tug of war. The goal of the insurance company is to keep all the cash. Your goal is to help the patient get healthy. I mean, it's kind of like complete opposite. Plus, we believe in not problem-based dentistry, but prevention and possibility-based dentistry, which no insurance is going to pay for. Okay? Insurance, by definition, is reactive. So, number one, right, what I say, insurance dependence, first of all, change the culture of the practice. Change the verbiage. Change the order in which things are discussed. Just change you and your team, because you have total control over that. Now, magically, 2 decades in, I will tell you, when you change you change your patients' mindsets, and you didn't have to change your patients. Okay. The second thing is, like, work smarter, not harder. Dr. Tau gave us the beautiful theme today. Cut out the ones you're losing money on. Like, if you got complicated mess of plans, you basically have a full-time team member or outsourced, which is even more money. Okay, and you're paying insurance secretaries. So how about reinvest in people to focus on patients, not focus on insurance dollars? Every practice in America, not one of them would say they're in the money business. They'd say they're in the patient business. And yet 99% of their time, it's all about the money. Okay? Because they're pinching pennies. They're looking for insurance claims. They're doing all these things. So how about we shove that to the side and we actually become patient-centric? Okay? So what I'm saying is, the insurance plans that are reimbursing, complete nothing, get rid of them. The insurance plans where you don't have a lot of patients on, get rid of them. And then if you have to figure out how to concentrate your efforts to maximize a few plans that are prominent in your area, or it's the teachers, or it's the firefighters and the policemen, or it's the people like this, at least you've narrowed it down, and you've chosen your battle. The third piece of no dependence, okay, is you become independent through education. What is it? Knowledge will set us free with action backed up behind of it. So you over-educate your patients by empowering them to make bigger, bolder decisions about the future, not the past, okay, of their life. And when you educate people and you say, I want to help you make a better decision for your future. Here's where we are. We don't have to stay here. Okay, here's what's possible. I can help you get there. And here's the investment you got to make to do it. You tell me, what would you like to do? Okay, wait till it's broken down and there's no choice. Okay, and maybe you get a little bit more for free. Or invest now, have a better quality of life, and never need to worry about it again. Okay, it's like you just have to trust that people want to make responsible decisions, and then you educate your way off of insurance. Now, I'm not talking about, because Dr. Tau teaches the best method, which is raving patients by mastering reviews and marketing, branding, and messaging. Okay, so then you can start to attract more, of those cash-paying concierge fee-for-service patients. And I just want to say the last thing. Okay, it is old news. We have been in the longevity movement. We have been in the holistic health movement for many years now. This is now mainstream. This is now most people. So nobody wants to hear about your insurance anyway. They all want to hear about you're going to live a happier, healthier, longer life. Okay, and no insurance is paying for that. So be the leader, not the order taker. That's what I say.
Got it. a lot of people go into dentistry and they want to get financial freedom. They think they're going to make a lot of money, and then they get stuck practicing until they're 80 years old. They retire, and then they die. I've seen that so many times, and I made it very clear in my career that I did not want to practice till I was in my 70s and 80s. So can you talk, and a lot of that was because of financial freedom. So can you talk about, some of the ways that you help practices or help dentists get financial freedom to allow them to live the life of their dreams?
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, the very first principle is I teach 3 businesses. Number 1, the dental business. Number 2, the life business. Number 3, the money business. And let me tell you something about the money business. The money doesn't move out of the practice by itself. Okay, so unless you set up magnetic attraction, I call it the vacuum cleaner attached to the practice, unless you are sucking out cash and you are putting that money to work for you. If you don't put the money to work for you, you will always have to work for the money. You understand? Okay, so you have to figure out modalities of moving the profit. First of all, you have to have profit. So if you're getting paid 30%, you're getting paid no more than an associate does. So you're just a worker in your own business. Okay, it beats somebody else's business, but it's still you're just a worker. If you do not have icing on the cake, that profit piece, boom, okay, profit piece, then and only then can you start moving that surplus out into money-making modalities. So, very basic. We have to think in basic terms. Is a retirement account, whether it's a SEP, an IRA, a 401k, that's basic. That's still you have to work forever to get to that deal. You have to think of other modalities to get the money to multiply. We're getting your time value to multiply, then we have to get your money to multiply. So I would say financial freedom, it is making sure that you have 2 streams of income in the practice. That's income and profit. Then you have to develop multiple streams out of the practice that's going to grow in parallel to your career so that someday your passive income out-earns your active income. And then at what point, that can take over, your lifestyle expectations. And then you can do my favorite thing, which is why I'm here, my friends, is to work by choice, not by necessity or need. So I'm not saying right up into the sunset, maybe you keep going, but you get to the point faster in your career where you can work by choice, like Dr. Tau, not by necessity. And then you can do it on your own terms for as long as possible.
Got it. It makes a lot of sense. So, Scott, we covered a lot of different topics, a lot of really good information for the listeners and the viewers. Anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to touch base on before we switch to the fun part, which is the lightning round Q&A?
Oh, boy. I know. I've been practicing. Okay, I heard about this. So, we could talk all day long. I just want to commend you for what you're doing, Dr. Tau, and I got nothing else to add at this point. I would just say that it's never been a greater time, okay, in any country, but in this country, to be in private practice dentistry, concierge healthcare, longevity-based, preventative, complete health, all the things. So the only way you don't succeed, amazingly, transformatively, is if you're in your own way. So you got to get over preconceived ideas. You got to get over past baggage. You got to look out ahead. You got to take control and embrace the entrepreneurship that dentistry can provide to you. Okay? And you got to go get it.
Got it. All right, this is great. So we're going to transition to our lightning round Q&A. If you remember from our debriefing, 8 to 10 questions. The goal of this is to be very short answers, not long answers. So keep them brief, okay?
I understand.
So first question. Do you have a system in place that keeps yourself organized?
Yes, sir. I write everything down. I do the old-fashioned night before, top 3 things for tomorrow. I keep a spreadsheet, and I script my day. I script my day minute by minute prior to the day starting, and so that I'm living through something that already happened, much like a team executing a play, on the field.
Got it. Who has been your greatest inspiration?
Well, oh boy, let's say, maybe somebody who's in the news quite a bit these days, but I would say my grandfather, Tom Wampler, Gramps, World War II vet, long story there, Marine, died last year at 98.
Got it. What distracts you the most every day?
Opportunity. And my daughter. But it's not I can't call her a distraction though. She pulls. I want to be with her.
It's a magnetic. It's a magnetism. So
opportunity.
Yeah. If you could take a class to learn anything, what would it be on?
I would probably say some form of art, because art or singing.
Got it. Who do you look to for advice or mentorship?
Well, I trust my wife to be the conscience of our life, and my brother I'm very proud to have. I would say I got two better halves, a wife and a brother.
Got it. What business-related book has inspired you the most, or what is your favorite book?
Oh, well, jeez. My number one life, I got to do this, I'm sorry. My number one life-changing book is The Four Agreements. I stand by the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People 100,000%. The greatest inspirational business philosopher was Jim Rohn for me. And of course, you have to say Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Got it. Got it. If you achieved all of your life goals tomorrow, what would you do next?
I hope die, but I mean, because, no, I would reinvent the bucket list. But I like to do puzzles. I sit on the floor and do a puzzle.
Got it. Do you have a hard time telling people no?
Well, I think so, except I'm very clear on what yes means. And so, like I believe in, if you don't have the discipline to say no to things that are low value, you'll never get to the high value things. So I'm very, very focused. I'm ruthless with what doesn't matter, relentless with what is.
What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
Focus, number 1. Discipline to sustain that, number 2. And a driving motivation with something that compels you and has a fire in your belly and lights you up every day, number 3.
Wonderful answers there. What deserves all of your attention but seldom gets it?
Well, I have to practice what I preach. So I would say I don't have an Achilles heel in that way, other than we'll say maybe, myself. I teach that we're our own number 1 first patient. And although I am a longevity amateur biohacker, but yeah, I don't know. My dog maybe doesn't get as much attention as it deserves.
Got it. How do you define success?
I would say peace of mind, personal fulfillment, and never feeling like you're supposed to be somewhere else. And then, I would stand by those answers.
Got it. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. How do you define success?
Well, peace of mind, personal fulfillment, never feeling like I should be somewhere else. But I would also say autonomy of choices, independence and freedom to do what you wish.
What has been your approach to marketing?
Old-fashioned, stealth, under the radar, okay? Law of attraction. We use direct mail, we do email, long-form copy, high-value content, and I write the books because readers are leaders. And listeners of Dr. Tau's podcast.
Last question, I ask this to everyone, okay? What is one subscription, either business or personal, that you cannot live without?
You're a funny guy. I can't help myself. So inside of here is something called Hydrate, and it's an electrolyte, but it's completely pure, and it's very special minerals. It's from a lady who hand compound crafts these in California. And this subscription is something that our bodies feel so invigorated by drinking them. That's what I would say. And this is not a subscription, but my daily calendars. My mom started these when I was a kid. I have daily calendar every single day of my life, and I wouldn't live without a daily calendar.
Got it. So Scott, as we end the podcast, how can people reach out to you? How do they find out more? And I think there was something, I think you wanted to offer a complimentary consultation and one of your books. So can you kind of give those to the audience?
You're so kind to do this and give me this opportunity. You built this platform. You attract these people. They come because of your personality. The guest is the bonus. So sure, of course. My favorite book is my 4 Freedoms book. I have somewhere around here. But the book that we're going to give to all your listeners is it's Pride, Power, and Prosperity. PridePowerandProsperity.com. That's just PridePowerProsperity.com. And the book is all about private practice dentistry. It's about how it's the greatest thing to ever exist, and it's going to thrive like never before. So pridepowerprosperity.com. If you need to reach out like right away, you certainly could. My number one person is named Diana at dentalsuccesstoday.net. But, again, read the book and we go from there.
Got it. No, this was awesome information. Thank you so much for entertaining the listening and viewing audience for the last 30 plus minutes. Guys, if you like the episode, please share it. Please review us. Please like us. Do anything you can to help promote it. Please tell your colleagues if you think they would be interested in what Scott has to offer. He gave his contact information and the ability to get one of his books to learn more about what he does. I want to remind everybody about my event, Supercharge Your Dental Practice, in 2025. It's at September 26th and 27th at Pier 66. Check out superchargeyourdentalpractice.com to find out more information about that, and use the code RAVING, R-A-V-I-N-G, to save $100 on registration. And as I end every single one of my episodes, remember, your reputation matters. Until the next one, we hope to see you soon, and thank you, Scott, for joining me today.
Thank you, Dr. Tau. You're an amazing man. Everybody get to that event. It's the movers and shakers of dentistry.